시는 관계기관 협의와 전문가 합동 전담팀 운영, 도시계획 건축공동위원회 자문을 거쳐 사업 이행력 담보를 위해 백화점 확장과 터미널 사업을 병행해 추진하는 협상 조건을 광주 신세계에 전달했습니다. 이와 함께 합리적 공공기여 계획 제시, 터미널 이용객 편의성 극대화, 교통 개선 대책 마련 등도 요청했습니다. 이에 광주 신세계는 협상 조건을 수용했고 지역 경제 활성화와 일자리 창출 등 광주시 발전에 기여하고 대한민국 최고의 터미널 복합개발 랜드마크가 되도록 최선을 다하겠다고 밝혔습니다. 광주 신세계가 협상 조건을 반영한 협상 제안서를 제출하면 시는 협상조정협의회를 구성해 6개월 이내에 본 협상을 마무리할 계획입니다.
Gwangju City intensifies efforts for autumn wildfire prevention.
광주시가 가을철 산불 예방에 총력을 다할 예정입니다.
Gwangju Metropolitan City has designated November 1st to December 15th as its autumn wildfire prevention period, during which it will ramp up wildfire prevention activities. Throughout this period, Gwangju City, its 5 autonomous districts, the Modong Mountain National Park Office, and 4 other agencies will operate a wildfire prevention headquarters, in collaboration with relevant organizations to strengthen wildfire prevention and initial response measures. While the majority of wildfires in Gwangju have historically occurred in the spring, recent climate change impacts have led to worsening weather conditions, causing wildfires to occur year-round with an increased risk of larger-scale outbreaks. In addition, Gwangju has established a constant monitoring system for 8 major urban mountains. Surveillance will also be reinforced across 76 vulnerable areas and along popular hiking trails to mitigate wildfire risks.
광주광역시는 11월 1일부터 12월 15일까지를 가을철 산불 조심 기간으로 정하고 산불 방지 활동을 펼칩니다. 이 기간 동안 광주시와 5개 자치구, 무등산 국립공원 사무소 등 7개 기관은 산불방지대책본부를 운영하고 유관기관과 함께 산불 예방 활동, 초동 진화체계 강화 등 산불 방지에 주력합니다. 광주시는 지난 10년간 광주 지역에서 발생한 산불 대부분이 봄철에 집중됐지만 최근 기후변화에 따른 기상여건 악화로 산불이 연중 발생하고 대형화함에 따라 가을철 산불 조심 기간을 운영, 긴장을 늦추지 않을 방침입니다. 또 금당산 등 도심 주요 산 8곳에 상시 모니터링 체계를 구축하고 산불 취약지 76곳과 주요 등산로 등의 산불 감시를 강화합니다.
Gwangju International Residence Center assists foreign residents in obtaining driver's
광주 외국인 주민 지원센터가 외국인 주민 운전면허 취득을 지원합니다.
On October 27, the Gwangju International Residence Center launched a program to support foreign residents in obtaining driver's licenses, enhancing self-sufficiency, and fostering smoother integration into the local community. This 6-week course, led by an experienced former police officer, covers essential road traffic laws and provides targeted preparation for the driver's license written exam. The initiative aims to help participants overcome language barriers that often hinder the licensing process. Earning a driver's license can also increase visa qualification points, making this program especially valuable to foreign residents. Additionally, it's anticipated to reduce traffic incidents caused by limited knowledge of local regulations. Due to high demand, the center plans to expand offerings next year, holding the course quarterly. Interested foreign residents can register through the center's website, visit directly, or sign up by phone.
광주 외국인 주민 지원센터는 광주에 거주하는 외국인 주민의 자립 역량 강화 및 지역 적응력 향상을 위한 운전면허 교육반을 지난 27일 개강하여 언어 장벽으로 운전면허 취득이 어려운 외국인 주민들에게 도로교통법 교육 등 운전면허 취득을 위한 필기 교육을 경찰 출신 강사의 수업으로 6주간 진행합니다. 운전면허 자격 취득 시 비자와 같은 체류 자격 가산점을 받을 수 있어 외국인 주민들의 많은 관심을 받고 있으며 외국인 주민들의 교통법규 미숙지로 인한 교통사고도 사전에 예방할 수 있을 것으로 기대됩니다. 내년에는 외국인 주민들의 수요를 반영하여 수업 횟수를 늘려 분기별 1회 추진할 예정으로 관심 있는 외국인 주민은 센터 홈페이지를 통해 신청하거나 방문 또는 전화로 신청하면 됩니다.
Gwangju Police to intensify drunk driving crackdown until January.
광주 경찰이 내년 1월까지 음주운전 단속을 강화합니다.
The Gwangju Metropolitan Police Agency and the Gwangju Autonomous Police Committee have announced that with year-end gatherings expected to increase, they will strengthen drunk driving checks from December 1st through the end of January. From January 1st to October 28th this year, there were a total of 228 drunk driving accidents in the region, a decrease of over 20% in both accident and casualty numbers compared to 301 incidents during the same period last year. However, incidents continue to occur steadily. In response, Gwangju Police will deploy all available personnel, including the Traffic Patrol Unit, undercover patrols and district traffic officers, conducting thorough checks at all hour.
광주경찰청과 광주시 자치경찰위원회는 연말 술자리가 늘어나면서 음주운전 증가 우려가 있는 만큼 다음 달 1일부터 내년 1월 말까지 음주 단속을 강화한다고 밝혔습니다. 올해 1월 1일부터 10월 28일까지 지역 내 음주 교통사고는 총 228건으로 지난해 같은 기간 301건보다 사고 건수와 사상자 수 모두 20% 이상 감소했지만 여전히 꾸준히 발생하고 있습니다. 이에 따라 광주경찰은 주간 야간 심야 시간대를 불문하고 교통순찰대, 암행순찰대, 각 경찰서 교통경찰 등 동원 가능한 경력을 모두 투입해 음주 단속을 강화합니다.
I hope you enjoyed Ggn News Focus. Coming right up, Gwangju.
오매광주! Good afternoon, culture lovers!
And welcome to 오매광주!
We are your hosts, Dave
and Lindsay.
and welcome to another edition of our show. On today, it's Friday and it's the 1st of November.
저는 Lindsay.
저는 Dave입니다.
안녕하세요. Dave, it's the first of a brand new month, but better than that, I feel like you might feel like you're right at home with the weather today in Gwangju.
Wow, absolutely. It is like Britain out there. Very rainy on the streets of Gwangju today. We hope you guys are taking care to stay dry and stay safe, but also enjoying the fall weather.
Ooh,
Lovely,
it.
lovely stuff. We got a lovely show lined up for you, of course, here in Gwangju. Lindsay and I broadcasting Monday to Friday from 12 until 2 p.m. We get to know everything there is to know about K culture and culture here in Gwangju itself. And today we'll start with Ride the K-Wave, about everything related to K culture.
And after that, we'll be diving into the latest cultural trends to explore some of the hottest spots in and around the nation.
And we would love to invite you to join us, listeners. 그래서 혹시 방송 중에 저희와 공유하고 싶은 사연이나 신청곡 있으시면 언제든 문자 주시고요.
That's right, send us your song requests and anything else you'd like to sharp 9870.
샵 9870으로 문자 많이 보내주세요.
Of course, you are tuned in to GGN. That's 98.7 FM in Gwangju and 93.7 FM in Yeosu.
그럼 지금부터 오매광주와 함께 신나는 문화 여행을 떠나보겠습니다.
That's
왠지
right.
우리 오늘의 첫 번째 곡은 뭔가요?
Let's see. It's a rainy day. What's the pirsutem on a rainy day? How about an usan by Yuna?
Welcome back to 오매광주.
Get ready to ride the K-Wave. We're taking you on a journey through Korea's must-see destinations on Friday. You know, it's going to be the weekend tomorrow, so we know that you want to know what the best things to do are across the peninsula.
Although, maybe with the asterisk that we're certainly hoping the weather improves. If you want to be venturing outdoors.
What are you talking about, Dave? This is the perfect fall weather.
It's very nice to stay inside with a cup of coffee, but I'm not sure I'd want to be spending too much time outside. Very bleak weather.
No, you know what we say, Dave. There's no bad weather, only inappropriate clothing. So you got to get yourself some waterproof things. For me, this weather is the perfect get outside weather. Not a lot of people outside. Great to enjoy nature, breathe in that fresh air, right?
Yeah, I do like your positivity, Lindsay. It's certainly appreciated. Maybe I need to be a little bit more like you in this situation because
Come on.
the time of the year that we're at right now, it's a limited window of opportunity in which we and all of our listeners need to find the time to get out and enjoy a event that only comes once a year.
That's right. Wait, what's that? Halloween?
I
No,
knew you were
Halloween
going to
is
say
finished.
Halloween.
Huh?
Not
What?
Halloween.
What is
I'm
it?
not talking about Halloween. I'm talking about 단풍, the autumn foliage.
That's right. Dave, I'm surprised that you didn't connect this to my very own home country.
Known for its is 단풍.
That's right. In fact, in Korea, my home country is called the 단풍나라.
I did not know that until you told me, but yeah, you're right in that I'm aware of that knowledge.
Yes, that's right. We are, and 단풍 doesn't really have, like, we translate it more to autumn leaves, I
그쵸.
think. But even then, we don't really have, like, we would say, oh, I'm going to see the leaves.
Do people go to see, like, is it an event in
Yes.
Canada?
It's not one event. It's more like a period of time. But during that, like every year, and maybe my fellow Canucks out there can maybe agree with me on this one. Every year, my family would take us out at least one time to some area in nature that was famous for leaves. We would walk around, just beautiful colors, scarlet, orange, yellow. And we used to do a lot of fun things with those leaves. There's a lot that you can do with leaves, Dave, and I don't think people are aware of that.
Go on, give me one or two.
One of the most favorite things I used to do as a kid was called leaf rubbing.
Okay.
And basically you find the most beautiful, most interesting leaf you can on the ground.
Yeah.
You take it back home.
And you just rub and rub and
And
rub.
you just and Jeannie comes no.
No.
You put it under a piece of A4 paper, and then
Okay.
you take a crayon
Uh-huh.
or a pastel, and you rub on top of it.
On top of the paper.
On top of the paper, which is on top of the leaf, and then
Okay.
the image of the leaf will come through the paper. It's like magic for
I
kids.
see.
Do you guys do anything like that
No.
in the UK?
I don't know why we don't, because I'm sure, taki, we don't have any sort of statement like autumn leaves or anything like that.
Do you guys have like trees that
Well,
turn color?
I presume so.
Have you ever seen them?
Well, 일단은 제가 항상 우리 이야기할 때마다 하는 말 있죠. I'm colorblind, so I don't really recognize the difference in colors myself.
But like, do people decorate? So in
I
Canada,
don't think so.
it's also very common to decorate your home for fall with
No.
like different. Do people not really lean into that?
Not really.
Oh
no.
man, I think North America is like the land of fall. Like
yeah.
pumpkin spice lattes, fall themed foods. People definitely decorate their house for fall. Like you get anything pumpkin, orange, leaf, anything like that.
A bit more of a depressing time of year, to be honest.
Oh,
in the UK.
in the UK,
Very miserable weather, a lot of rain.
Is there like a not depressing time of the year in the UK? No, I'm just joking.
Except for
but
autumn, it tends to be pretty okay, but autumn can be quite bleak. I can remember the day gets short. You know, I think I would leave school at like 3:30 p.m. and it's already dark.
And is it weather like we're having today in Gwangju often?
even more miserable, like darker, just gloomy weather. But nonetheless, I do have some fond memories of it. But having moved to Korea, I realized that there is certainly more of an association with the, like I said before, the event. And what I mean by event is that it's an activity that people get involved with. And that is, going to see the 단풍. However, we're talking about it today due to, I guess, some less than welcome news about how it has been delayed. 좀 지각 단풍이라고도 하는 거죠?
That's right. So the autumn this year, not just the 단풍, but I would say autumn in general this year has been very delayed. We're already the 1st of November, and yet this is the first time we're starting to see daily temperatures under 20 degrees,
네.
which is blowing my mind because Canadians, if you were growing up wearing a snowsuit under your Halloween costume, you'll know that when we were younger, it was like cold, seriously cold by the end of October. But this year in Korea, we are seeing delayed cooler temperatures and also delayed 단풍s.
Yeah, I do think we had this prediction in mid-September. I do remember talking about how the unseasonal, uncharacteristic late summer heat led to the prediction that the autumn would also be prolonged with higher temperature. And that has also caused the knock-on effect of the changing of the color of the leaves being delayed in itself too, because the chemical reaction can't happen until the nighttime temperature drops below 5 degrees.
Yeah, I think it can be a little bit warmer than that. I don't think we've seen anything under 5 yet.
Yeah.
However, it's definitely well known that to get the most beautiful color leaves, you need sunny and cool days. You need a long stretch of like dry, sunny, and very cool days to get the most beautiful color. But the good thing is that the rain that we're seeing now is happening before the peak. So if you get the rain at the peak, a lot of those leaves will fall. However, today's rain is coming before the peak of the 단풍, so hopefully there'll still be a lot of beautiful leaves to see in the coming days.
There again with that positivity. Do love to hear that. But yes, this is all because, as we said, the Korean Meteorological Administration has said that there is a delay. They define the start of the foliage, the 단풍, as when 20% of trees are colored from the top point. Peak is when 80% are in color. And due to those late drops in temperature, the temperature hasn't dropped enough for the chemical reaction to take place, which causes the colors to change. And that means that we are not seeing the 단풍 just yet. And we actually have some updates on the current status of the foliage around the country.
That's right. Where is our foliage alarm? Biu, update on the foliage announcement. What is the status of 단풍 across the peninsula, Dave?
Yeah, I can tell you that usually the first place we would look for is I guess, Hallasan. Would it make sense? Is it opposite?
See, I feel like it would be. I think the cherry blossoms start from the bottom up.
Yeah, I think
and
you're
then
right.
the leaves start from the
top
down, right?
So if we go all the way to the top, it's presumably going to be Seoraksan, right in the north of the country.
Okay, so what is our 단풍 update for Seoraksan?
So foliage 단풍 actually started on October 4th, but that was actually 6 days later than it is by average.
Whoa.
It reached peak foliage, the peak 단풍, as I just said, which is when 80% of the trees are in color, wasn't until a couple of days ago, Lindsay, October 29th, and that is actually as many as 12 days later than average since records began back in 1985. So a 12-day delay there for Seoraksan. You can imagine that that's also going to lead to some similar delays elsewhere in the country too.
That's right. Okay, so you said Seoraksan, almost 2 weeks delayed for the 단풍. And how about we go right down to the south? I guess Hallasan will probably be the most southern mountain. So what are the foliage dates for that?
Yeah, so as I said, when it comes to the start of the foliage, that's 20% of trees being colored from the top. In Hallasan, it was recorded on October 29th, and that is 19 days later than last year.
Hold on. So Seoraksan and Hallasan had the first autumn, not the peak.
In Seoraksan coincided with the start for Hallasan.
But that's 20 days later than normal.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think, Dave? Is this, in terms of going to see the 단풍, is a later date a good thing or a bad thing? Not thinking in terms of climate change, because we all know how to feel about that. But what do you think? Does it matter when it really falls, or is it just kind of a strange feeling to have it so late?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lindsay. I would say it probably doesn't really matter too much if we're not thinking about the implications of climate change.
Yes, let's not think about that. The elephant in the room. Okay, so we did the 북쪽, and what's the opposite of 북?
남쪽.
남쪽. And now it's time to talk about our city, Gwangju.
The 전라도쪽.
Come on, Mr. Leafman. Tell us when the most beautiful leaves are going to be seen.
Well, I can tell you, first of all, specifically for places to go this weekend. Maybe you guys are looking for activities.
Is this the weekend?
Not for Mudungsan.
Okay.
Mudungsan, well, Mudungsan is, yes. So Mudungsan is the place we're talking about. But actually, I wanted to tell you about Naejangsan. So Naejangsan is, I think, known for having more beautiful... Don't hate on me, listeners.
Wait.
Mudungsan and Naejangsan both available, but Naejangsan is the place I wanted to recommend.
Hold on now, Dave. Okay, I saw what you just tiptoed around that very hot take that you had there. Okay,
Get out of the city. You know, it's part of being in nature, Lindsay.
Before you introduce it, just tell us when is the peak time time for Mudungsan then at least? Like give us the peaks.
Yeah, so Mudungsan, if my calculations are correct, Lindsay, that's going to be Monday.
Okay.
Nedangsan will be Tuesday. But as those are the peak, as I said, 80% coverage. You can expect there to be a good amount of coverage this weekend.
So this weekend, and maybe if we don't get any rain, stretching until next weekend. You heard it out there, leaf lovers.
Yes.
Now is the time to get your butt in gear and get thee to the mountains. All right, Mr. Leafman will be back with more of his leaf recommendations after a song, Dave. What do you want to hear?
This time, Isora featuring Suga of BTS. It is 신청곡.
That was 조용필 with hello, and we are saying hello to you, world, here from Ggn. Thank you so much for tuning in on your lunch hour. You're listening at 98.7 FM in Gwangju and 93.7 FM in Yeosu. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Dave.
And today we are in a very fall mood here, and I think I just realized that Dave and I, coming from different countries with different cultural traditions and different weathers, have two very different reactions to fall, I think.
That's definitely true.
Yes. So for North Americans, fall is a time to be excited. You know, you got Halloween, you have Thanksgiving, you're coming up to Christmas, you can go to the apple orchard and go to the pumpkin farm. And in the UK,
we just stay inside because it's so cold and so wet and so miserable. You don't do anything. Just stay warm.
Now, what do you
think?
think?
It's a fight.
What do you think? We're just fighting for our lives. What do you think the Korean perspective is?
Yeah, definitely more of the former, I think, Lindsay. And I have come
somewhere
to
in the
love
middle,
autumn since coming to Korea. I would say autumn is the best time of year here in Korea.
Would you?
A little bit milder. It's definitely, for me, a toss-up between autumn and spring.
I think everybody says the same as you because it's just winter, nobody likes driving, and summer, do we even have to say?
But yeah, I'm a big fan of right here, right now. Autumn is just, the temperature is great. I kind of, although I just said those British autumns are quite miserable, I do have a little bit of fondness for the days that remind me of being back home. Much like today. It's not quite in the extreme of the bitterly cold, wet, and miserable British autumn days that I'm familiar with, but it's certainly getting there, and I'm saying that with all the love in the world. As we're in autumn now, of course, that means that, lots of people will be getting out, maybe enjoying a lot of 산책. 산책하시는 분 좀 많아 보이는데요.
등산, it's also a great time to go.
Yep.
I mean, you just hope and pray that maybe the mosquitoes are done for the year. But
아직은 좀 많은 것 같아요, 목이.
Let me tell you, Dave, those Samdidas mosquitoes are like indestructible, right?
They are. But if we can ignore the moggies, go out, enjoy the weather, hopefully that will be something you guys are looking to do this weekend. And we are talking to you guys today about some of our suggestions for places to go. And also, we got a quiz question to share with you about that.
That's right. You know, it's that time of the show where we want to give away some fantastic prizes.
네.
So our question today is all about a local hotspot known for its beautiful 단풍.
Exactly right. Of course, with it being, as we said, the time of the year that 단풍 is on everyone's lips. That's what we're talking about. 자, 올해는 변덕스러운 날씨 때문에 단풍 절정이 늦게 찾아왔는데요. But this weekend, it does look like you guys out there might be able to enjoy the colorful autumn leaves across the country.
So our quiz is about a very special place.
그쵸.
정읍과 순창, 장성에 결져 있는 이 산도 이번 주말쯤에 단풍이 절정을 이루다고 해요.
맞습니다. 내장사, 백양사 같은 쪽도 있고 케이블카도 탈 수 있습니다. Which makes it a really lovely place to go and enjoy this time of the year.
That's right. So like I just said, it stretches from 정읍 to Suncheong and Tangsong, very close to Gwangju. This mountain is one of the most popular spots for autumn leaves in Jeollado. Now, what is the name of this mountain? Is it A,
내장산,
B,
북한산,
or C,
설악산.
Once again, this is one of the most famous places in Jeollado for its beautiful leaves, and it stretches from 정읍 to Suncheong to Tangsong.
네.
But not Gwangju.
No. Close enough.
Close enough. Is it A,
내장산,
B,
북한산,
or C?
설악산.
That's right. All you got to do is send your answers in to us right now at sharp 9870. Now, short messages will cost you 50 won. Longer messages will cost you 100 won. 맞죠, Dave?
네, 맞습니다. 짧은 문자 50원, 긴 문자 100원 문자 수시로 있습니다. 정답을 아시는 분들은 샵 9870으로 문자 보내주세요. 퀴즈 정답뿐만 아니라 신청곡이나 재미있는 사연도 대환영입니다.
퀴즈 정답을 맞추신 분들께 for all all of our wonderful quiz winners, we have some great prizes. From B Hospital.
A culture voucher.
From
An
Sumnet.
easy breathing mask.
From C Hospital, specializing in egg freezing.
A free infertility test.
And from Chungjangnou's new wine bar and restaurant, Le Pehe.
A gift certificate for your next delicious meal.
Just tell us, what's the name of that mountain? And by the way, Dave, we should mention that there's another way to get in touch with us because we're broadcasting out there on the interwebs.
That's totally true. You can currently see Lindsay and I live here in the studio just by searching on NotTube for global광주방송 Ggn. You'll be able to see our live stream every Tuesday and Friday. We live stream. We try to read your comments in real time, get you guys involved with the show. If you happen to be capable of connecting right now, i.e. not driving, we'd love to have you join us.
Yes, please don't watch us. We are not worth it. Please
No.
don't watch us while you're driving.
No, if you happen to be driving to a place to watch the Tanpunmyeso, well, that's all the better reason to text us when you pull over into a rest stop, of course.
Yes.
Tell us where you're going.
That's right. We want to hear what your plans are for the weekend. How are you going to enjoy fall? See, if I was back home, I'd be going apple picking or maybe to the pumpkin patch, maybe apple cider making.
진심으로?
Yeah,
Wow.
we do. It's not just in movies. In Canada, that is like an activity you do. Although it's funny, like when I moved to Korea and I would tell people, apple picking is like a traditional fall activity. People were like, why do you pay to do farm labor? And I was like,
그러게요.
I never thought of that before. Why do we pay to do farm labor?
뭐 한국에서도 비슷한 거죠. 있죠? You can go for like 딸기 picking,
I
like the
think.
strawberries,
I
the
think
cherry
there's like
picking.
체험, but I think it's not really popular if you don't have kids because I
Ah.
think people really do feel like they are just paying to work.
Ah. In Canada, people of all ages would go and enjoy such an activity.
Especially for dates. Very
Ooh.
popular apple picking dates.
Really?
Pumpkin patch dates. Now, what is
뭐가
it?
로man틱인가요?
Ooh, it's all about the 분위기. You know, you're wrapped up in your scarf. You're enjoying some hot beverages. Pumpkin patches are also very popular. 호박밭. Have
What's-
you ever been to a
No.
호박밭 for a date?
본
Let me
적도
tell you.
없어요.
Oh, it's so cute. You
Okay.
get to go and you find the perfect pumpkin to make your jack-o'-lantern.
근데 너무 늦잖아요, 이제.
Yes. Well, actually, now's the best time to go if you're in Canada because all the pumpkins are on sale.
I see. So it doesn't matter if it's a few days late for Halloween.
I mean, let's just start a new Halloween that's on the weekend.
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
We can do that. All right. We are here to recommend to you guys some great places to spend this autumn weekend. Dave, aka Mr. Leafman, you've got some places to recommend to us. Where do you want to start?
Yes, so many places to choose from Lindsay. But as we were talking about today, places a little bit closer to home. I do want to start with what I consider to be the closest place
What?
to our home.
Okay, we are 무등산?
무등산 아니고요.
Oh.
무등산 너무 모두
Oh,
아시겠잖아요.
everybody knows about 무등산. Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of a different place. I want to suggest a place that I actually do enjoy visiting. 빛가람 치유의 숲, 빛가람 healing forest.
빛가람 healing forest. Okay, now 빛가람 makes me think that this might be 나주 쪽?
맞습니다. This is exactly in Naju. It's part of the 전라남도 Forest Research Institute. That's Naju's 전라남도 산림연구원.
Whoa.
They are a free public research forest and have approximately 1,000 plant species. And yeah, of course, at this time of the year, you'd be able to enjoy the colorful autumn foliage on their metasequoia and broadleaf trees.
Hey, metasequoia very famous these days. You know,
So
Tamyang
hot
also
right now.
has so hot right now. The metasequoia, and the first time I heard it, I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
But it means giant sequoia trees.
Oh, do you not
basically,
say metasequoia in Canada? I think that's the word in English.
Is it?
Yeah.
We don't have sequoia trees where I'm from. However, I know on the West Coast, but we just call them sequoia trees.
I see. I've called them metasequoia trees, but you can definitely see them here. I think they were planted like back in the 90s in Damyang, and definitely a place to
Ooh.
enjoy. But we're not talking about Damyang. We're talking about Naju. That's my recommendation because they also have a forest healing center that offers personalized therapy programs with health devices and aromatherapy. And what's more, if you don't want to just take a walk by yourself, you can even get a guided tour of the forest.
Oh, Dave!
Sounds great, right?
All of these things are exactly what I want to do. I love aromatherapy.
Yeah.
I want some like nature healing, a guided tour of the forest. Now, you might be saying, what do you need to guide in a forest for? There is a
No.
tree. There is a tree.
No.
It's so cool when you have like experts to direct you. This is this kind of tree. This seed is from this tree.
Precisely.
This is a squirrel. How fun would that be?
Exactly, Lindsay. I think that I'm enjoying your positivity about my recommendation. I want to hear what you've got to offer us, but we are going to listen to a track real quick. We'll be back after this one by Son Woo-donga. It is 비 온다. With 비 온다, I'm guessing that means it's still raining outside.
I mean, it's hard for us to tell because we are locked in the studio for the next couple hours. But you know what? We'd love to hear a weather update from our wonderful listeners out there. Once again, you can get in touch with us by sending us a message to sharp 9870. Or if you have the time, hop over to NoTube, type in Global Gwangju 방송, and join our live stream. We got some pretty interesting chats happening in the sidebar here.
They're just entertaining our listeners are entertaining themselves, along with our in-studio producer.
Yes, we are currently joined in the studio by our tech man himself, and so they are having fun. You can chat with GFN staff, chat with us as well if you want to get involved. We'd love to read some great messages. And of course, you can see Dave and I's beautiful faces. Faces made for radio, as they say.
그러네요. We were also talking about places to visit this weekend. I just introduced you guys to 나주 전라남도 산림연구원.
That's right.
The Forest Research Institute. It's a really great place to go and check out the Meta Sequoia, the broadleaf trees, a cool place to take a walk. You know, it's healing time, Lindsay.
I love it. You're saying all the woo-woo
the buzzwords
stuff that I just love. Dave
healing
knows
time
it.
그 잡채.
I love watching Dave's eyes roll back in his head as I talk about angel numbers, crystals, aromatherapy, all of these things.
But I do think there's something to be said about taking a walk through nature. I think that the peace and tranquility is really helpful. So that's the place that I prepared to recommend. Lindsay, do you happen to have a place you'd like to recommend to me and to our listeners?
I do. Now, this is what for everyone out there that wants to take a bit of a trip, okay? So we often talk about the places around Gwangju, but if you're looking to kind of get out of Jeollado, head up to the mountains, then I've got the place for you.
Oh, do you?
Because I'm talking about a little town called Pyeongchang. Maybe you've heard of it? Home of the Olympics. Pyeongchang.
Is that not Greece?
2018.
Athens?
When was the Pyeongchang?
2018.
Thank you, Dave.
네네.
Thanks. Yeah, so Pyeongchang up in Gangwon province. As you heard, just recently, Gangwon-do kind of hit its peak in terms of autumn foliage. So this is a great time to head up there and see what's left of that. And specifically, I want to talk about the Odaesan Sunjae-gil and Mill Bridge.
Okay.
Mill Bridge. So the Sunjae-gil or the Sunjae Path, it connects 월정사 and 상원사 temples. So it was traditionally used by monks and devotees. But you don't got to be a monk or a devotee to walk on this path anymore.
You can be devoted to autumn.
Yeah, devoted to the dampungs, aren't we
go.
all, right?
네.
But this is a great and kind of privileged area to walk along for normies like you and me, right? And 월정사 Temple, if you're into trees or you're into health, it's known as one of Korea's top 3 fir tree forests. Now, what's cool about that? Have you ever smelled the air in a fir tree forest? Oh my God. Talk about aromatherapy. It's like just a straight shot to your brain with all of that crisp pine needle scent. Do you guys have pine trees in the UK?
Yeah, pine trees 아주 많아요, 영국에서는.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a lot of trees in general.
That's good.
Pine trees are definitely one
know.
you can find. We usually just call them Christmas trees.
Do you call them Christmas trees?
아니면 그냥 제가 혼자서 그렇게 말하는 걸까요?
Oh, that is so cute.
크리스마스 자주 보는 tree니까요.
Oh, 맞아요. But that is so. You're so
Maybe
cute.
it's just me. Maybe that's a Daveism.
The British are just the most adorable
맞아요.
language makers,
Yeah,
right?
thank you for that.
You're welcome. Anyways, so you can walk through this beautiful Sunjae path through this forest of AKA Christmas trees,
네.
fir trees. It's 9 kilometers long. It's got 5, get this, historical themed sections.
Wow.
So if you're a history nerd like myself, you will not only be getting in a good walk, but also some interesting tidbits about history. So there's a 산림철길, 조선사고길, 거제수나무길, 화전민길, and 왕의길. So those translate as the Forest Railroad Path,
Ooh.
the Joseon Historical Archives Path.
Oh,
So I'd
wow,
love to
really
know
rolls
what
off
the
the tongue.
connection is there between the Joseon Historical Archives and that path. There is the Korean Birch Road, the slash and burn farmers road. Okay, it's a throwback to the agricultural times tape.
네.
Okay, they don't translate well into English.
they
okay,
don't.
but the last one is a big hit. The 왕의길 is the King's Road.
Sounds great,
So you
Lindsay.
could live your Game of Thrones fantasies by walking along Korea's very own King's
It
Road.
sounds great, but you also mentioned Mill Bridge. What's the Mill Bridge?
Okay, so Mill Bridge is a nature experience center. Great for kids, or if you're just a big fat nature nerd like myself, it's around 방가다리 Spring or 방아다리 약수터. It's really good for just walking around and also getting into nature. And if you want to explore nearby, the Samyang Roundhill has these beautiful grass-covered kind of rolling hills.
I think it's famous for sheep.
Yeah, Samyang?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait,
sheep.
isn't it milk?
Oh, maybe. But
Isn't 삼양은
제가
milk
알기로는
thing?
저기 양 많아가지고.
I mean, that's very probably.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Maybe that's why it's called Samyang. Maybe there are 3 sheep.
Samyang,
우연인
Dave,
것
you're
같아요.
smart. So there's a lot of animals that you
네.
can see there, and wind turbines, aka 풍력 something.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
I really
forget
love
what
the sound of the
풍력-
slash and burn farmers road though. Lindsay.
모르겠어.
모르겠어요. But I've seen it.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a very picturesque place to go. The rolling hills.
That's right.
It's like, you know what it's like, Lindsay?
A little bit like England, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's definitely true. And I
Uh-huh.
wish I'd have thought of that first. But I was going to say, like that famous background on Windows XP.
Oh,
It's like that.
Okay.
You know, the
yeah.
hills.
Is that not the UK?
It's not, I think that might be America, actually.
It probably is.
But you could also be forgiven for thinking that it's Gangwon-do.
Yeah,
So
it
go and
could
check
be.
it out.
There you go. There's also a church that's called the Silver Bell Church, which is beautiful to check out. So I definitely recommend that you guys head up there. So once again, I recommend the 오대산 선제길 and the Mill Bridge. It's a
bit
beautiful
far
area.
though, Lindsay,
Well,
isn't
that's
it?
what I was saying. Like, it's a good, if you want to get away, do an ibagir, right? It's not,
Ibak Samir.
you can't really do like an ibagir in Naju, right? Like, it's not
You
worth
could.
it. I mean, you could, but why not just drive back and sleep in your home? If you want to get out of the area, why not drive cross country, get
I
up into the
suppose.
beautiful mountains?
That's
of
a good
Gangwon-do.
idea, but maybe our listeners might prefer just a quick drive to Naju.
Well,
or maybe they're even listening from Naju.
You know what? We could put this to our listeners right now. Listeners, we're going to have a vote. Would you rather go to Dave? Dave, what did you introduce again?
I
The
introduced
Naju.
I introduced the Bitgaram Healing Forest, but it's also known as the Forest Research Institute. 전라남도 산림연구원 in Naju.
There you go. So that's
얼마나
Dave's
좋은 곳인지
suggestion.
아시겠죠, 청취자 여러분?
Sure, all of us have gone there. Or would you prefer to go to the 오대산 선제길 and Millbridge area? Cast your votes, listeners, at #9870. Or, if you want to be more diplomatic, just let us know, what are you doing this beautiful
그거 좋은 생각
fall
같아요.
weekend?
Yeah, we'd love to hear if you also have any pics of places to visit yourselves, any places that you're always looking forward to get to at this time of year. Once again, not only can you text us that number, it's #9870, #9870. We'd love to also see your comments on our NotTube live stream. Just search for Global Gwangju Bangsong. You'll see Lindsay and I in the flesh on there.
That's
We're
right.
going to take a break. We'll be joined by a guest in a few minutes to talk about what's going on in Gwangju. But time for a track first, Lindsay.
Yes, how about we hear this? Since we've been yammering on about the beautiful forest in Korea, why don't we hear Chae-yuri with Soup?
Welcome back to the show. You're tuned into 오매광주 here on GGN, of course, 98.7 FM in Gwangju and 93.7 FM in Yeosu.
That's right. Coming after Ride the K-Wave, it's time now to explore the culture and events of our beloved Gwangju. So welcome to G-Wave.
Yeah, and today, once again, we are joined by a talented local writer, publisher, designer, business owner,
That's
coffee
right.
expert.
CEO, wonderful conversationalist,
네.
동명동 lover.
맞아요.
That's right. And she happens to run a magazine dedicated to showcasing the vibrant culture and happenings in Gwangju.
우리 프로그램이랑 진짜 딱 맞으신 분이실 것 같은데요.
맞아요.
Exactly. 그럼 지금 바로 모셔볼까요?
좋아요.
Welcome to the studio once again, Miss 백수지. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 수지 대표님 와주셔서 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
예.
네, 저번 주도 나오셨는데요. 그 저번 주 우리 동면동 커피 산책 이야기 했죠.
That's
린지
right.
혹시 가보셨어요?
I
저번 주에?
did not. However, some of my friends went to the 동명동 커피 산책, aka the 동명동 coffee walk. It was this amazing community event put on by
네.
a lot of different businesses in 동명동.
네.
They went and they said that there was so many people at 동명동
참 엄청
last
많았다고
weekend.
들었어요.
그래요. 그 어땠어요?
네,
그때는?
그날 거짓말처럼 정말 날씨가 너무 다행히 좋아가지고 사람들이 너무 많이 찾아주셨고 하루 동안 3만 명 정도 방문해
3만
주셨더라고요.
명이고요?
네.
30,000 people
Wow.
in 동명동. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's like one Kia Tigers baseball game처럼.
Wow.
그쵸?
그 정도 맞는 것 같아요.
Wow.
Yeah, very impressive. Yeah, perfect weather it was last Saturday. I actually went on Sunday. 제가 일요일에 갔는데 날씨 좀 안 좋아가지고 참 많이 없었어요.
다 쉬고 있었어요.
그렇죠. 아마 그 전날에 진짜 네 재밌게 놀라서 뭐 아마 쉬지 않았을까요?
일요일이니까 집에서
그렇죠,
쉬어야지.
그렇죠.
맞아요.
But it's good to hear that there were lots of people there because we talked about the event connected to a magazine last week. 뭐 Heritage 동명이라는 그 잡지 소개해 주셨죠 저번 주.
That's right. Yeah, we got the beautiful magazine. It was called, like Dave said, Heritage 동명.
네.
And it featured a lot of the businesses and a lot of the people that were calling 동명동 home, at least to their businesses, with a big emphasis on coffee. However, our Suji 대표님 is here today to introduce another magazine.
네.
So, 이번 주는 또 다른 잡지를 가져오셨네요.
네.
너무 이쁘다. 데이브 어떻게 생각해요?
진짜 예쁘죠?
오.
이게 거의 잡지 아니고 책인 것 같아요.
맞아요. 이게 잡지 아니에요. 제 생각에 저번 주처럼 이게
진짜.
like a booklet 정도예요.
Yeah.
And Dave, what do you think of the title?
It's called 구구라고 하는 거죠?
GUGU?
네.
구구. 이게 무슨 뜻일까요? 구구를.
잡지 이름을 고민을 하다가 이제 저희 잡지가 성인 잡지거든요.
어허.
그래서 그로운업 광주라는 의미를 담아서 이제 구구 이렇게
아.
Oh, we love the English names, right, Dave?
네.
So, GUGU, this magazine, if you hop over to our NotTube channel, go
네.
to YouTube, search глобал광주방송. You can see us live. We're holding up the magazines right now. It's called GUGU, and it's spelled G-U-G-U.
네.
And 대표님 just explained to
Explains.
us that GUGU stands for Grown Up Gwangju.
네.
The last U is the U of
You
Gwangju.
can see
at
the
end.
highlighted part of the letter, the GUGU right
맞아요.
here. I love it alongside it as well. 여기 또 무슨 뭐 있는지도 좀 설명하시는 것 같아요. 고민, 노잼, 맛집, 솔로, 모텔 등등 이렇게도 나와가지고.
And it's all at least the title page is
Love
all
and
in
free.
English, so we love it.
너무 좋네요.
But hold on. Before we go any farther, I gotta clarify something, Dave. 방금 성인 잡지라고 하셨는데
네네.
혹시 대표님 설마 이게 19금가 아니지요?
무슨 내용일까요?
이제 저희가 생각하는 성인 잡지 하면 사실 그런 외설적인 잡지들이 가장 먼저 떠오르는데 이제
어.
구구는 그런 외설적인 잡지는 아니고
Okay, good.
네, 놀고 먹고 일하고 사랑하라라는 메시지를 담아서 조금 우리 지역의 성인들이 좀 솔직하고 재밌게 읽을 수 있는 잡지를 만들어 보고자 이렇게 타이틀을 붙였어요.
Okay. So we heard that this is an adult magazine, but hold on, Dave.
그런 의미 아닙니다.
It's not that kind of adult magazine.
No.
Let's say it's not an adult magazine, Dave. Let's say it's a magazine for adults.
Magazine for grown-ups.
Yeah, magazine for
like
grown-ups.
the title suggests exactly. It looks really cool, just like last week's Heritage Domyeong. Here we got GUGU as well. Similarly looks really great as well. And I think last week a lot of our listeners were interested in getting their hands on this magazine.
That's right.
혹시 이번 주도 우리 청취자 여러분 혹시 이 잡지 읽고 싶으시면 우리 드릴 수 있을 것 같은데요.
I think our 대표님 is going to 설마 대표님, are you going to give some of these magazines away to our listeners? 혹시 우리 뭐 주실 수 있을까요? 우리 정치자한테?
아, 네, 드리려고 당연히 가져왔고 네 분께 드리고 싶어가지고
오.
제가 4권 가져왔거든요.
와, 좋아요.
Oh, there you
그럼
go.
여기 2명 있어가지고 이제 그
Dave,
2장밖에 안 남은
me.
거예요?
Okay, so we have 4 of these amazing GUGU magazines
네.
to give away. And once again, we got to emphasize that this is not a like roll-up magazine.
네.
This is a hit somebody in the head magazine.
아.
It's a real book. It's not
네네.
even what I would consider a magazine.
그쵸.
So if you want to get your hands on this, and as our 대표님 just said, this magazine focuses on letting adults know where they should play, eat, and live in Gwangju. So I have a feeling it's going to have some really great suggestions
맞아요.
for hotspots and fun things to do. So
그쵸.
Dave, if our listeners want to get their hands on a free edition
네.
of GUGU, how can they do it?
Really simple. There are 2 ways, in fact. One is you could send in a message just to us via sharp 9870, sharp 9870. Also, as on Fridays, we're live streaming on NotTube. You can just leave a message on there, leave a comment. You can search for us Ggn glóbal광주방송. You'll be able to see the 3 of us in the studio right now with a Google magazine. If you'd like to get your hands on one of them, it really is as simple as just telling us that you'd like to get one, and hopefully we'll be able to give you guys a chance to get this magazine. We're going to talk about the contents of the magazine today, what's inside it, maybe the inspiration for this magazine. So many questions.
I am so stoked because as Dev said on the cover of this magazine, it says 고민 노점, 맛집, solo, motel, papa, book, flirting, running, and love and free.
너무 좋아요.
So 너무 궁금해요.
그렇죠.
이런 내용.
무슨 내용일까요?
Oh, 근데 before that, why don't we see how this magazine got up and started?
네,
So,
저도 궁금했어요.
맞아요. 갑자기 뭐 노바운더리가 이런 잡지를 만든 계기가 있을까요?
노바운더리가 올해 5월에 이제 호남권의 로컬 크리에이터 지원 사업에 선정이 돼서 이제 지원 사업을 받게 됐어요. 그래서 문화도시 광주의 명성에 맞게 이제 대표 잡지가 없다는 게 조금 안타까워서 이제 전 잡지를 일단 광주 대표를 할 수 있는 잡지를 만들고자 생각을 했고 이제 만드는 김에 조금 저희가 생각했던 형식적이고 좀 딱딱한 잡지보다 좀 트렌디하고 좀 감각적인 잡지를 만들고 싶어서
좀 더
자극적으로.
재밌는
네네.
잡지를 만들고 싶었어요.
네, 그래서 기획하게 됐습니다.
Oh, I love it because you made a good point, 대표님. Like 대부분 잡지들 뭐 지역 잡지, 뭐 역사, 뭐 관광, 그 관광지, 뭐 또 다른 거 뭐 있을까요? 뭐 약간 역사만?
예.
뭐 음식 근데 이게 약간 좀 더 현실적인 좀 더 real하는 매거진이라서 it focuses more on what the real MZ generation wants to do in Gwangju, not just Gwangju's history or the famous places.
그쵸. It sounds really cool, but I'm curious. You mentioned that this was as a result of the local creator project. 그럼 그 local creator 지원 사업이라고 하셨죠? 뭐 왠지 생각해 보니까 그 경쟁률도 엄청 치열했을 텐데요. 그렇죠.
네,
그렇죠.
조금 이제 많은 국가 지원 사업들이 있지만 그 중에서도 조금 경쟁률이 있는 지원 사업이었고 광주에서 딱 3팀이 선발됐는데 이제
정말요?
노바운더리가 선발이 돼서 제가 이런
축하합니다.
영광으로
Congratulations.
잡지를 만들었습니다. 감사합니다.
Must have been a great feeling for sure.
Yeah, so let's just break that down.
네.
So there was kind of a competition for local, what is a 상업? Local
Companies.
companies, thank you,
네,
Dave,
영어 어렵죠.
to get funding to produce a local magazine.
Yeah.
And No Boundary beat out a bunch of different competitors
네.
to get the funding to produce this wonderful made for grown-ups magazine.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the content inside this adult magazine, Grown Up Gwangju라는 magazine. We'll talk about that though after listening to a track. 일단 무슨 노래 들을까요, 린지?
Ooh, how about some deli spice? I want chow chow.
Deli Spice with Chow Chow right there. You're tuned back in to us here in Gwangju as we are talking about this magazine, beautiful magazine called GUGU. GUGU is Grown Up Gwangju. We've been discussing over the break how great it is. Lindsay and I both loving it. 진짜
Yes.
마음에 들었어요.
Really, we've been reading this magazine,
네.
and it's just first, Dave, and I was telling this to 수지 대표님 too. It reminds me in some respects of a lot of the 10대 잡지. I don't know what do you got? 한국에서 10대 잡지라고 했어요? Youth we you know
그런
the
잡지도 있었을까요?
teen magazine. 아마 하이틴 잡지 같은 거.
맞아요. 하이틴.
하이틴,
오.
yes.
하이틴
그래서
매거진.
어렸을 때 우리 캐나다에서 뭐 17, 뭐 Tiger Bee
무슨
이런.
내용 있었어요?
Okay, so it was all about 대부분 뭐 아이돌이나 그런 거.
But
But
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet, yes,
네.
Backstreet Boys posters, makeup tips, 뭐 이런 거. 근데 그 부분 말고 there's
린지
some.
그 부분에 관심이 없었어요?
No, 관심이 있었죠.
아하.
Of course I had Backstreet Boys poster on my wall. But anyways, this magazine has a couple parts that are very similar to the high teen magazines
그래요?
of. I guess Dave was not a high teen magazine
그러니까
reader.
제가 그런 잡지 읽어본 적이 없어가지고
Okay, well, you know what? You're going to get a taste of it in GUGU. But before
그렇죠.
we get to that, let's go over the basic 내용, the basic
아.
contents of the GUGU magazine.
네네.
Yeah.
일단 그러니까 뭐 일단 무슨 내용이 있는지 한번 소개해 주실래요?
그 다양한 내용을 사실 담았는데 조금
네.
두서가 없으실 수는 있어요.
어허.
근데 이제 뭐 예를 들면 솔직한 성인들의 고민들을 조금 익명으로 담아봤고
오.
또 저희 그 대부분은 사실 워킹맘들에 집중하는 포지션이 많은데 이제 저희 잡지는 육아하는 아빠들에게 좀 집중을 해봐서 이제 광주에서 육아휴직을 내고 육아에 전담하고 있는 뭐 라떼파파 인터뷰를.
라떼파파라고요.
Okay, wait, 잠깐만. I saw this. 라떼 파파. 근데 라떼 파파가 왜 라떼 파파라고 해요? 라떼 마시는 파파예요?
맞아요. 이제 정확히는 그런데 스웨덴에서 유래된 이제 어원인데 한 손에는 유모차를 끌고 한 손에는 라떼를 마시는 그런 아빠를 지칭해서
이런 말도
라떼파파라고.
있었어요.
Do we have a word for that in Latte
검색해 보니까
dads?
왠지 이렇게 나오더라고요.
네,
라떼파파.
맞아요.
Latte papa,
네.
해요. You push the stroller in one hand, you got your latte in the other. 근데 라떼 마마도 있어요?
없어요.
마마도 라떼 필요하니까
어.
어떡해요.
근데 뭐 라떼파파 라떼파파 인터뷰도 있고요. 혹시 또 다른 뭐 부분
뭐 요즘에
있을까요?
또 러닝이나 독서 문화들도
어.
이제 소소하게 유행하고 있어서 그런 이야기도 담고 또 모텔 같은 숙박업 취재도 해봤고 그리고 요즘 나는 솔로 프로그램 굉장히 인기 있잖아요.
네,
이거를
네.
조금 변형해서 저는 너넌 솔로라고 해서 솔로들을 조금 어필해주는 취재물을 담기도 했고 또
너무
요즘
좋아요.
20대들을 어디서 노나 해서 20대 음주 가물을 조금 신랄하게 담기도 했고요. 그래서
와.
다양한 콘텐츠들을 담았습니다.
저 아까도
우와.
말했는데 왠지 진짜 우리 프로그램 그 오매광주 프로그램이랑 진짜 딱 맞는 잡지인 것 같아요.
감사합니다.
와.
저도 그렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
와 너무
Thank
좋아요.
you for making this magazine
네.
for us.
우리도
대표님.
매일매일 비슷하게 소개해가지고
우리 위해서 이 magazine
네.
만들어서 감사합니다.
네.
But let's just go over a couple of those
Okay.
things. So we heard that there's obviously about the latte papas, or as Dave likes to say, is latte papas. There's also some stuff about motels, which is, I feel like something nobody talks about,
그러게요.
motel culture. There's also, and I'm so excited to talk about this in a bit, a segment called You Are Solo. 너는 solo.
네.
Not the reality show 나는 solo.
네.
And
I'm a big fan of that show, by the way. 저는
think
나는 솔로 진짜 big
David
fan이에요.
is a big fan. He
그래서
comes
왠지
in.
너는 솔로도 재밌을 것 같아요.
I think so. It's,
네.
I think there's going to be a little bit of matchmaking going on. And
그러게요.
just in general, just a lot of places that young people in their 20s want to hang out, right?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of fun.
Okay, I got a question, Dave.
네네.
We're talking about the High Teen magazine, and one big part of High Teen magazines was the sections where you would write in anonymously, 익명으로, and you would tell your worries or your questions to the magazine editors, and they would answer you. It was like
Dear Anne?
Dear Abby,
아,
but like
잡지에 따라서 다른 이름은 나오지 않을까요?
맞아요. But we just heard from the 대표님 that there is an 익명 부분도 있어요. 익명으로 뭐 고민 관련 거 나와요?
네, 이제 저희 지금 사실 익명 제도가 많이 사라졌잖아요. 이제 당연히 많은 문제들이 있기 때문에 사라졌는데 저희 잡지에서는 좀 성인들의 좀 진솔한 이야기를 들을 필요가 있었고
어.
그래서 익명을 다시 부활시켜서 그런 고민들을 담아보면 훨씬 더 편하게 말씀해 주실 수 있지 않을까 해서 익명란을 만들었고 자영업자들의 조금 현실적인 고민이라든지 또 저희 비혼주의자들도 요즘에 많으시잖아요. 그런 분들의 이야기도 좀 담았고 또 섹스리스 부부라든지 또 MBTI로 파생된 그런 고민들도 담았고 해서 요즘 시대에 맞는 고민들을 좀 담아봤어요.
That is so cool. So like real worries, real,
Real issues.
concerns, real issues. Very good. So we heard that you might see some people writing in about just their everyday lives. So small business owners. 비혼주의자 is definitely kind of person that's increasing these days. Those are people who have decided to not get married. I think. I don't know if we have a word in English for those, Dave. Never marries, shall we say. Sexless couples, MBTIs. There's like a bunch of real issues in here.
Yeah, it just sounds super interesting. Like, genuinely, I say that without any sense of irony. It's super cool to see these kind of things in the magazine. 혹시 또 다른 특히 뭐 다른 잡지랑 비교하면 와, 딱 이 부분이 다르다고 생각할 만큼 그런 거 있을까요?
제가 생각했을 때 광주의 뭐 역사, 문화 모든 것도 훌륭하지만 광주에 잘 사는 사람이라고 사실 생각하거든요. 광주 사람들이 굉장히 개성 있고 굉장히 능력 있는 분들이 많은데 이게 이제 어필해드리고 싶었어요. 그래서 그 평범한 잡지에는 보통 간지라고 하죠. 중간중간 광고 페이지들이 굉장히 많은데 뭐 제품 광고, 패션 광고가 많은데 저희 페이지에서는 이 광주 사람들을 퍼스널 브랜딩 해드리자라는 취지로 그 개인의 패션이나 감각, 뭐 취향이 묻어나는 사진들과 함께 개인의 슬로건을 담아서 이제 그런 페이지들을 조금 광고 대신 대처해서 넣어봤어요.
That is so cool. So there's not a focus on advertisement. 광고 페이지 거의 없죠? 아예 없어요?
아예 없어요.
아예 없어. There's no advertisements in this magazine at all. Instead, they have advertised Gwangju people.
네.
Yes, that's right. So instead of having brands, they have personal brands for different Gwangju people. I wonder, 대표님 어떻게 생각해요? 데이브 personal branding 하면 어떻게 생각하세요? 무슨 브랜드 이미지 좀 나올 거예요?
알고 싶은지 모르겠네요.
Dave's getting a little. Don't be shy, Dave. You have a lot of great charms.
부담스럽잖아요.
No, what do you think?
일단 슬로건부터 좀 생각하는데.
잠깐 생각난 건 저희 예전에 시트콤 프렌즈 있잖아요.
Yes.
저는 러스 닮았다고 생각한 거예요. 러스 제일 재미없는 캐릭터인데
들었어요?
러스랑 닮았다고요?
들어본 적이 있어요?
아니요,
Dave?
처음 들었는데 왠지 대필이 눈빛 보니까 러스랑 닮았다고 말씀하실 줄 알았어요.
Ross?
저는 러스보다 챈들러랑 닮았다고 하셨으면 좀 좋았을 텐데.
Okay, well, why don't we just say just like a friends image? 그냥 프렌즈
아니,
이미지 같은 거.
러스랑 닮았다고 하셔도 돼요. 러스 아주 진짜 현실적으로 사니까.
삐졌어, 우리
너
데이브.
좋아요. 저는 러스 좋아요.
오케이.
챈들도 더 재밌지만.
좀
그럼 러스 슬로건 혹시 있었을까요?
I got Dave's.
제가 지금 여기 보니까 이런
Yeah.
슬로건도 나오는데 진짜 이 슬로건 여기 슬로건 진짜 마음에 들었어요.
Okay, I got Dave's slogan. Dave's slogan. 왜요?
왜요?
Yeah, Dave 자주 하는 말이에요.
왜요?
왜요?
저 호기심 많은 편이니까.
맞아요. That's
왜요?
what I mean. 왜요?
왠지 알고 싶어요.
Your 호기심을 표현하는 슬로건이에요.
좋은 슬로건이죠?
좋아요.
감사합니다.
Actually, 왜용?
왜요?
Because yeah, 맞아요. 데이브 너무
그런가.
귀여워서 왜용?
그럼
좋아요.
린지는요? 린지
Well, I
퍼스널
have to.
슬로건이 뭘까요?
I have to go to the 대표님
네.
because she's the branding. All right, 대표님. What's my personal branding?
여기 좀
너무-
비비 같잖아요.
하지 마세요. I don't want to be
비비-
friends.
비비보다 더 러블리하시고 약간 러블리함이 되게 큰 강점이신 것 같아서 키치하고 러블리한 그런
Kids and lovely. I love it. I'm so sorry, Dave. Like, 데이브보다 나 너무 좋은
저도
personal
러스
branding.
좋아요. 러스 싫어하는 거 아니에요. 챈들였으면 좋겠지만 싫어하는 거 아닙니다.
Okay, all right. You know what, Dave. Sorry, I just get you guys mixed up. We are having a good time talking about
그러니까.
personal branding. But all of that to say is that there's no advertisements. There are
Yeah.
only advertisements for actual real people
네네네네.
in here.
혹시 뭐 대표님도 나오는 부분 있을까요?
아니요,
나오세요?
저는 철저하게
아.
대표님.
제출하지 않았습니다.
이게 가능하지 않아요. 제 생각에는 다음 이디션에 나올
원하실까요?
거죠? Yes, of course. 나
So
대표님
good.
personal branding 너무 궁금해요.
Oh, I'm so curious as well, especially as 대표님 just described Lindsay. 뭐라고 하셨죠? You said a couple of things, but one of them being kitsch.
Lovely and kitsch.
Lovely and
is what I
kitsch.
got, and Dave got.
Like Ross from Friends. 좋은데? 러시라는 사람 없잖아요. 러시 거의 주인공이니까.
Yeah, sure. Doesn't he get married to Rachel?
그러니까 그래서
get-
주인공이죠.
He gets the girl in the end,
그러니까
right?
제 말이에요.
It's okay, Dave.
But
Don't.
Ross is fine, but
Ross is great.
on the point of kitsch, I think we have to listen to the not just the slogan but the theme song for you, Lindsay.
We don't have a Ross theme song.
No,
to
no
play?
Ross theme song. 근데 kitsch이라고 하니까 이제 we will listen to this track by Ive. It's kitsch.
That was 이고도 우리 같은 사람들. Welcome back to GGN. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to 오매광주, and you are tuned in to 98.7 FM in Gwangju and 93.7 FM in Yeosu. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday lunch hour on this rainy day. I'm Lindsay.
I'm Ross. I'm Dave.
Thank you so much for doing that. And we are sitting down in the studio with the lovely 수지 대표님.
Wow.
She is representing No Boundary Publishing Work.
안녕하세요.
And she is here introducing the phenomenal Gwangju magazine. It's called GUGU. That's
네.
right. 99.
아.
혹시 그런 뜻이도 들어가요?
구구.
뜻은 없었는데 이제 재밌게 구구를 표현할 때 그렇게 표현은 하고 있어요.
좋네요.
Yeah, see, look
Google.
at that. There's layers upon layers. Now, this magazine is a magazine for grown-ups in Gwangju. It covers
네.
everything from 하플 to love
네.
to 고민. All of these things coming out in this magazine. And we haven't even gotten to Dave's favorite part yet. So, 잠시만 우리
맛집?
좀 맛집 말고
제가 제일 좋아하는 파트가 뭘까요?
데이브 한번 설명해 주세요. 데이브
아.
가장 좋아하는 부분이.
네네네. 이게 바로 플러팅 할 때 쓰면 좋은 표현도 나오는데
맞아요.
진짜 영어로 우리 쓰는 영어로 나오니까 우리 아까도 그거 봐서 놀랐더라고요.
맞아요.
진짜 영어 원어민들이 쓰는 말이니까 우리 그거 보고
Do we
여기
진짜
스튜디오에서
really-
좀 말했어요.
Do we really use these? But they are.
제가 진심으로 여기 나오는 표현 쓴 적 있어요.
Really?
네.
Wow.
있어요.
Okay, let's break this down. There are pickup lines. That's right. 플로팅 할 때 쓴 뭐 픽업 라인 한국말로 딱 표현 한 가지 있어요?
작업 멘트?
작업 멘트.
작업 멘트.
There you go.
그렇군요.
There are pickup
배워도
lines
되는 거죠?
in this magazine, and guys, these are real English pickup
네.
lines. I haven't had to use them, but
재미를 위해서 쓰는 거죠.
yes, they are often in TVs and movies. Dave, what's your favorite pickup line from
trying to
this
find. Is it
magazine?
long magazine? 진짜 내용 아주 많아가지고 진짜
맞아요.
빠르게 좀 찾아볼게요. What page is that one on, Lindsay?
It's on the yellow page.
Before or after sexy plants?
I don't know, but we'll talk about sexy plants in a sec. There
my
you go.
favorite one 진짜 아주 쉽게. Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? 천국에서 내려올 때 혹시 아프지 않았어? 이런 말인데요.
Well, you got to
어떨까요?
start it off first with, excuse
혹시
me.
괜찮아?
Yeah.
좀 아플 것 같은데?
Did it hurt? And then the person says, Did what hurt?
천국에서 내려왔을 때.
Oh my god. Okay, and we'll go
어때요?
right to our 대표님 for her
대표님?
reaction.
말씀 못 하시는 거예요?
She flaps her hands awkwardly.
근데 그 부분도 있고요. 왠지 진짜 여기 나오는 표현 배우고 뭐 진짜 도움이 될 부분도 있어요.
맞아요.
나는 솔로 아니고 너는 솔로라는 부분도 있다고 하셨죠?
Oh yes, let's talk about 너는 솔로.
너는 솔로.
AKA you are single.
네, 그 부분도 한번 소개해 주실래요?
저희 그 나는 솔로 콘텐츠가 굉장히 인기가 있는데 그만큼 사람들이 연애에 계속 관심이 있다고 저는 생각을 했거든요. 근데 제 주변 성인분들도 연애를 못 하시는 분들께 여쭤보면 광주 너무 좁아, 뭐 만날 기회가 너무 없어 이렇게 이제 이유를 대세요. 그래서 제 잡지에 조금 공개적으로 이런 매력적인 솔로 남녀들을 어필해드리고 관심 있는 분들이 계시면 또 제가 연락을 받아들여서 연결을 시켜드리는 역할을 조금 시도해봤습니다.
Yeah, this is amazing. It's like online dating profiles, but in a magazine.
There you go.
So it includes beautiful pictures of these solo men and women, and it also includes a lot about their 성격, 뭐 MBTI, 뭐 그런 거.
꼭 알아야 하는 정보죠.
맞아요. MBTI 꼭 알아야 돼요. 제 생각에는. And there is balance game results as well as interview kind of questions there as well. So if you are solo and you're looking for someone, look no further than GUGU magazine because there are some wonderful people that are in this magazine. Dave, unfortunately, you and I can't take part.
솔로 아니니까.
근데 PD님 안 나오죠? I mean, 그 대표님 안 나오죠?
네, 저는 안 나와요.
Oh, she had her little eyebrow thing. That means something, I think. But anyway, so if you are solo, definitely check this out. Eligible bachelors and bachelorettes in here.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
Very creative idea.
근데 이제는 지금 잡지가 나온 지 한 달 2달 얼마나 됐어요?
네, 2달 정도 되어가고
2달
됐어요.
정도? 그럼 혹시 실제로 만남을 이어가시는 분들 뭐 후기가 있을까요? Did people really meet? through the
사실
magazine?
정말 연락을 해주시는 분들이 있을까 하는 반신반의한 시도였는데 벌써 한 3-4분은 연결시켜드려서
와우.
연락 중이신 걸로 알고 있습니다.
대단하시네요.
3 or 4 people already hooked up through the magazine. No, not that hooked up. Connected through the magazine.
Wow, I mean, that's great. I mean, 대표님, she said she didn't actually know whether it was going to be successful or not. But in just a month or two already, to have that level of success, 왠지 생각해보니까 진짜 나는 솔로보다 잘 된 것 같아요.
Yeah.
제가 나는 솔로 볼 때는 거의 다 끝나고 헤어져서 집 돌아가는데 여기 너는 솔로 같은 경우는 왠지 굉장히 큰 도움이 된 것 같더라고요.
I think so.
그쵸?
And look, like Dave, there's so many details that come out about these singles. So, how long have you been single? How long have you dated? What's your ideal type? How do you feel about marriage? What style do you hate? 싫어하는 이성 스타일까지 다 나와요. 본인이 플러팅 포인트도 나와요. And 남자친구 뭐 여자친구 없는 이유까지 다 이야기해요.
Wow,
Yeah.
important information.
Very in depth.
Very in depth. There are some more things that we want to talk about, but I think we should perhaps listen to another song real quick. We are going to take a song break, and after we come back from the song break, we'll talk more about the contents of this magazine.
The
We talked about the Latte Papa, and I want to ask a little bit more about that. But first, we're going to listen to this track by Gavi and Jay. It is Latte 한잔. there. Latte Hanjan, somewhat enjoyed by the latte papas that Lindsay and I have learned about today. Thanks to this grown-up Gwangju GUGU magazine we've been exploring today, learning about some of the interesting segments. We just talked about Non and Solo, which is a matchmaking segment that has actually been pretty helpful in just a couple of months since the magazine was released. We got a few more important things to ask about. I mean, there's so much content in here, but Lindsay,
so good.
I think there's one thing in particular that you were curious about.
Well, actually, since we don't have a lot of time, I think let's get into maybe how the magazine was made, because we could keep going through the contents, but actually there's just so many contents. But I'm really curious on how this magazine was put together, because we talked about how 여러 분야의 이야기가 담겨 있는데 혹시 대표님 혼자 단독 지뢰하신 거예요?
제가 이제 잡지 출판을 선택한 이유가 지역민들은 조금 다른 수도권 지역보다 글을 쓰시거나 출판할 기회가 아무래도 적거든요. 근데 잡지 한 권에는 굉장히 다양한 취재를 할 수 있어서 그렇게 작가 지망생들 또는 이런 기회를 이제 원하시는 분들께 기회를 제공해드려서 거의 지역민들과 함께 공동 출판한 느낌으로 제작을 한 잡지여서 의미가 있는 것 같아요.
How cool is that? So No Boundary Publishing, which is an independent publisher, actually won the funding to do a local magazine. However, 대표님 just talked about how it wasn't all her. She wanted to give an opportunity to other people in Gwangju to get experience working on these publishing projects.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to find these sorts of opportunities outside of Seoul or the capital area. And so, the fact that No Boundary is giving these sorts of opportunities to writers is really wonderful. And let's hope that we'll be able to hear more about other magazines that is going to be made by No Boundary in future.
Okay, but listen, now, once again, we want to remind our listeners out there that we have 4 copies of this giant GUGU magazine to give away. If you are a grown-up in Gwangju, you got to get your hands on this GUGU magazine. And all you got to do is send us a message to sharp 9870, sharp 9870, or leave a comment on our YouTube channel right now. We are live streaming. You can find us at 글로벌광주방송 on YouTube, and you will get your very own copy of this GUGU for free. But 혹시, if you don't get a chance to get your hands on a copy today, where can we find this magazine? 뭐 잡지는 어디서 구해 볼 수 있을까요?
잡지가 또 소량 인쇄만 해서 지금 판매를 하고 있는데 저희 노바운더리 홈페이지에서 구매하실 수 있어요.
There you go. Online.
네, check it out on No Boundary homepage. If you search in any of your favorite search platforms, you'll definitely be able to find it.
That's right. And it is a limited printing run. So it's an exclusive magazine. So try and get your hands on it.
So actually, I was curious about 혹시 구구 뭐 2호 출간 계획도 있을까요?
Could there be?
반응이 생각보다 이제 좋으시고 이제 관심을 가져주셔서 당연히 2호, 3호 뭐 정기 발행도 생각하고 있는데
정말요?
내년에 또 더 열심히 도전해서 사실 부족한 점도 많은 잡지여서 조금 더 보완해서 이제 풍성한 내용으로 2호를 만들어 보겠습니다.
Work in progress.
I don't see any 부족한 점.
그러니까
없을
그런
것
부족한
같은데요?
점이 없는데요.
맞아요. 딱 우리 스타일이에요. 좀 더 real. It's like a lot more talk about like grown up. It really is grown up. Like really talking about where grown-ups actually hang out, what is stressing out like the MZ generation here in Gwangju. And it's quite, Dave, as we say, tongue-in-cheek. It's funny. It's a funny magazine. 좀 웃겨요.
그러게요.
무슨
Doesn't take itself too seriously.
맞아요.
Yeah.
있어요.
And we also heard before, 아까 우리 노래 들으면서도 계속 이야기했잖아요. 뭐 이제 앞으로도 좀 뭐 영어 있는 부분도 같이 넣을 수 있으면 좋겠다고 생각하시는 거죠?
네, 저 영어 공부 열심히 하려고 하고 있는데 이제 잡지에는 거의 프롤로그나 에필로그밖에 영어 번역본을 못 넣었는데 다음번에는 이렇게 더 많은 분들이 읽으실 수 있도록 영어로 꼭 모든 내용을 번역해서 조금 다뤄보도록 하겠습니다.
기대하겠습니다.
We'll be
Looking
waiting
forward to
on
it.
that. All right, Dave. Well, we only have about a minute left. Was there any last question you wanted to know? I know you were curious about one phrase.
저는 이 잡지 보면서 진짜 마음에 드는 표현 딱 하나 봤는데요. 이게 바로 섹시한 식물이라고요.
Sexy plants.
섹시 플랜트 뭐 그런 것도 있어요?
네, 저희가 사실 요즘에 식물 되게 키워드가 인기 키워드잖아요.
그쵸.
집안에서 가드닝도 많이 관심을 갖고 하시는데
반려식물.
맞아요, 반려식물. 저는 조금 이제 한 번 더 틀어서 생각을 했을 때 식물이 섹시할 수도 있을까로 접근을 했더니 이제 식물을 이제 이 식물 관련 일을 하시고 식물을 연구하시는 전문가님께서 따로 취재를 해주셨어요. 결론은
Sexy
섹시한
plants.
식물이 있다거든요. 그래서
You heard it here on 오매광주. First, guys, plants are in fact sexy.
그러게요.
And in this magazine, you can find recommendations from experts about what the sexiest plants are.
There you go. Plenty of great information, as we said. You can find the magazine Grown Up Gwangju Google on the No Boundary website. We're also giving away 4 copies to our listeners today. So if you would like to be one of the lucky recipients of one of those 4 copies, just send us a text to shop 9870. But unfortunately, 네, 이제 아쉽지만 we should say goodbye to 백수지 대표님. 오늘도 나와주셔서 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 다음에 또 뵙겠습니다.
We're going to be back after listening to this track by Taemin, just like those plants, sexy in the air. In right there, shiny, sexy in the air, sexy in the house would be plants, 식물. 섹시한 식물이라고 이야기했잖아요, 린지.
That's right. I'm just letting you spin this out because I
No, I
wanted to
did
see
it.
the segue.
소문된 것 같은데요?
맞아요.
분명히 그런 관계에 있었잖아요.
I am so happy that I've got my hands on this copy of GUGU, Grown Up Gwangju,
네.
because I think I'm just going to be a cooler person
그러니까.
with this magazine. It's got so much good stuff in it, and it's like real talk. It's not kind of prettied up
No.
or kind of whitewashed, cleaned up. It's really talking about the stuff that really matters to the MZ generation. So, Dave, I think our cool points just went up.
I think so too. I'm looking forward to getting home, reading it over the weekend, find some cool places to visit.
Dave, hold on. I just had a brainwave. We got to tell
Okay.
the Depyonim. The second edition should be called Gaga. Because then it's GUGU Gaga.
Okay.
What do you think?
You just have to think of another thing for the second part, the A and
Roan and Gwangja.
Keep that one on the
You know what?
on the whiteboard.
It's going back to the brainstorm.
We've got
yeah.
plenty more great ideas to come, but we'll have to save them for next week because we're pretty much at the end of the show today, Lindsay.
That's right. But before we go, we're going to let you know the answer to today's quiz. We asked you about one of the most beautiful spots in Jeollado for seeing the autumn foliage, aka Dampung. And this mountain stretched from Jeongeuk to Suncheon and Changsong. So what was the name of that mountain, Dave?
Of course, it was none other than Naejangsan.
That's right. Congratulations to everybody out there who sent in your messages. We'll be getting in touch with some great prizes.
Yeah, but that leaves me to say 아쉽지만 오늘의 오매광주는 여기서 마무리하겠습니다.
But make sure that you are joining us next week from 12 to 2 p.m. Monday to Friday right here on GGN. That's 98.7 FM in Gwangju and 93.7 FM in Yeosu.
And coming up next is the Music Lounge.
We hope you have a fantastic day today. Stay dry. We'll meet you back here at the same time on Monday.
And we're going to finish up with this track by Beast, 비가 오는 날엔 월화수목금.
오후 12시에서 2시까지
오매광주!